In a few days' time, because there was a team that was appointed, a working group, a task force that was put together to look at the issues surrounding the funding program. And I know they have completed their report. They should be submitting it in a few days' time. And I believe, after broad consultations across the board, they have been able to identify where the challenges are. And in their recommendations, we shall have a lasting solution so that we can deal once and for all and in a sustainable manner with the issue of the funding of our institutions at the university level. And indeed, as you say, at the TVET, it has been functioning quite well. So I want to assure you on behalf of the government and on behalf of the Ministry of Education that this is underway and you'll be able to get to know the details of the findings and the recommendations in a few days' time. You will remember the debate that was there on the CBC. If you will recollect, it was a hot issue, very hot. And some were saying, scrap it, abandon it. It became even a very hot political issue. If you wanted to get makofi, upigiwe makofi kwa jukwaa, when we were campaigning, panda pale juu na useme hii CBC inamaliza wazazi, inamaliza wanafunzi, inamaliza nani, toa. That was the shortcut. That was the simplistic thing to do. And it had problems, it had teething problems. But gradually, we have overcome those challenges. And therefore, I want to give you hope that we shall also overcome the funding challenge.
We are talking about exporting labor. Labor exportation has its challenges and its privileges as well. As a training institution that we want to leverage on labor export, I want to ask you and the ministry to be able to sit down and incorporate languages to be learned in the TVETs. Make sure that there is a common course for German language, for example, for a Chinese language, for example, so that when you graduate from here, you are up for grabs in the national market where we want to export the labor to a greater extent. That is a challenge to the ministry. Number two, this is a technologically advancing country. The training equipments that we have in our institution, most of them are outdated. They belong to the past. We want to ask the ministry to move with speed to make sure that we conform to the advancement of this life and this country and the world altogether, so that we can be able to upgrade and update the equipments that we use in our training here.
We want to appreciate the reforms, and I want to thank the PS. She has been able to raise a number of the things that we have always raised are already being addressed by the State Department, including shortening the time that our students take to acquire skills in our institutions. If we can be able to reduce them even by half, start by reducing it to 1 year, then move to reducing it to 6 months, that will shorten the time. It will lessen the burden of paying school fees for our parents and our students, but also it will give them an opportunity to join the job market and contribute towards the building of our country. Your Excellency, TVET is the way to go. There is no country in the world that has industrialized outside the purview of TVET and skills. And therefore, if this country has to industrialize, be able to create jobs for our young men and women, then we must be able to put our emphasis within TVET training institutions, and we are excited with what is happening nationally.
The honeymoon on aid is over. Mambo ya health. The international community, particularly the Western powers and the new administration in the United States, has got a different AIDS policy. Aid policy. Now, the funding for health programs is being put back to the governments in those countries. Tuachane na kufikiri sasa mtu mwingine atakuja kufanya health programs zetu. Ni sisi wenyewe, the government of Kenya, the government of Uganda, the government of Tanzania, the government of where, you name those governments. Aid has come to a standstill. Now, we may have some challenges on the universal health care, which we must all collectively address, the ones that are here and there, just the way we are talking of challenges in the funding program where we need to address. We'll do that. But I want to ask you now, was it a premonition or what was it that led the government of Kenya to pursue aggressively the need to have a proper and functioning universal health care program? Now that aid is being cut, it's being removed, ladies and gentlemen, even if you don't like the government, but at least acknowledge one thing. There was foresight, they were planning ahead, because now we are in the area where aid has been cut. So who is going to care for the sick in Kenya? It is us. Because the international community has told us, ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to take care of your sick anymore. The sick in your countries must be taken care of by yourselves. So what do we do? Na mimi nazungumza hapa kwa sababu, kwa mfano, kwa aid program, AIDS and what have you. In Kenya, we have citizens who are affected, about 1.3 million Kenyans, and the government of Kenya funds about 60% of their program, and the international community was funding up to 40%. I only want to give the example of Kenya. I don't want to talk about other countries. There are others where they rely 100% on donor assistance. So the government of Kenya must figure out, how do we meet the gap of 40% that is no longer going to be available from the international community? We have to do it. As a responsible government, we have to find ways. If we were irresponsible, we would say, we shall do nothing about it. So the 40% who are relying on international funding can then just disappear into the wilderness. A responsible government cannot do that. And the government of President William Ruto is a responsible government, and therefore, that is why you have a universal health care program, so that we can systematically find a way of catering for all Kenyans, irrespective of their station in life. We are proud to be standing on the ground that His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto prepared when he commissioned the Jitume Digital Skills Laboratory and laid the foundation stone for an information and communication technologies complex in January last year. The moment is here for us to celebrate the first 1,614 graduates who have completed their learning experience in this distinguished institution. We recognize you for your hard work, dedication, and achievements. Your graduation marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of the new. Exciting opportunities that ahead that will shape your future. Let me extend my heartfelt congratulations to all of you graduates and acknowledge your trainers families, and the communities you come from for supporting you through this remarkable journey. The honeymoon around aid is over. The honeymoon is over. Globally, the honeymoon is over. Now we must shift gear and we must compete for investment and trade. In history, you read about the scramble for Africa when the colonialists were dividing Africa and scrambling around it. Now, we must look at it in the reverse, that we must scramble for investment and trade. And you shall not get investment and trade if you do not have a skilled manpower. Lazima uwe na watu wenye ujuzi, wenye tajriba, wenye wanafahamu kile mwekezaji anataka. Na ndio nyinyi sasa. Tunawataka, tunawahitaji, Kenya inawataka, inawahitaji, kwa sababu kupitia kwenu ndio tutafutia wale investors wakuje katika Kenya, kwa sababu hiyo ndio scramble mpya, na tuachane na mambo ya aid. So we need you, we need your skills. Capital goes to where there is good skill. Ukienda kwa nchi ambayo watu hawana ujuzi, hawana nini, investors wanapotea, wanaenda kwingine. So Kenya has got an opportunity to really be at the forefront in this competitive area where we are now going for investments and trade and production. So you have everything cut out for you, and we must provide the enabling environment ile ambayo itamsukuma na nyinyi mwende mbele. And in all this, we need a stable government, we need peace, we need unity of the country, and we need to be a democratic nation. We have made significant strides in reforming the sector to ensure that it is aligned with global trends, industry standards, and the needs of our growing workforce. In this regard, we are upgrading and modernizing TVET institutions to enhance their relevance and responsiveness to the manpower needs of our growing economy. These reforms focus on enhancing the quality of education and training, improving access to TVET programs, and ensuring that what is taught in these institutions directly addresses the needs of the labor market. As part of these reforms, the Cabinet has approved the dual training policy, and you heard the Principal Secretary make reference to this, that formalizes the integration of theoretical learning and hands-on training in industries. This historic decision is a game changer, as it will ensure that trainees who have been constrained by skills mismatch with the needs of our industries can now graduate with cutting-edge skills to entrepreneurship or local and international labor markets. This policy will also enable TVET institutions to fully implement the robust competency-based education training curriculum that was rolled out in September 2023. The training focuses on practical skills and outcomes that ensure TVET trainees are knowledgeable and highly skilled in areas most needed by industries.
We as TVET have refused to train in the traditional way, and right now, as we speak, Your Excellency, we are going into micro-credentials, where as in civil and building, we will train you in bricklaying to absoluteness and certify you. Then you can go to painting. Then you can go to God knows what. So that, Your Excellency, by the time you graduate with civil and building, you are actually crafted in each skill to absoluteness. For that to happen, Madam Mitai, we have to continuously recraft our trainers, and the school is here to bear me witness that we in government, if we are going to industrialize this country, let me say what I have told anybody and everybody who cared to listen to me, that for us to be able to attract industries into this country, you know, the industries have the industry owners have the money, they have the machinery, they have the market. What they do not have is the man. And Your Excellency, that man, so I've been talking about 4 M's, the market, the machinery, the money, and the man. Your Excellency, it is my responsibility and the responsibility of these people sitting here to ensure that that man is crafted. And that man, Your Excellency, is the person we are saying that we are now breaking the curricula into skill sets, so that, because the industry now, I can tell you with confidence, is asking you, what can you do? Sio ile certificate utakupatia hapa at the diploma in I don't know what. You will go there and they ask you, what can you do? So Your Excellency, as a department, we want to make sure that our young people can actually do. And that is why we are going into micro-credentials, and Your Excellency, we will soon be bringing the micro-credentials policy to cabinet to be able to accede to it.
President akizungumza mambo ya housing, wengine wanataka kuleta kelele. Sasa kwanza walitupeleka koti hapa na pale. Sasa juzi nimeona wanasema now where will be the title deeds for the houses, the sectional head, sectional titles. It is the government of the day that generates titles. Please, for heaven's sake, who does land adjudication? Government. Who issues titles? The government. Who created the law to allow the sectional titles? Yani, when you are on top of a flat, sectional title, ni ile title for the upper floors, not the ground one. Who created the law for sectional titles? Government. So surely, why are you looking for the smallest of things to make it look like the housing program is a problem for the people of Kenya? Always trying to give wrong information. It is the government of the day that issues titles. And there's a procedure to issue titles, including the sectional titles. So don't mislead people on a matter like this. I also want to let you know, as my very good neighbors and friends, najua wakati tulizungumza mambo ya earthquake, tumeenda sasa a notch higher. Sisi kwa ANC na UDA sasa tumeshikana, we are now one. Sasa tunasonga mbele, tukienda mbele. And the judgment will remain with the voter.
Wakaribishwa pole, hakuna
Aya, songa nyuma, songa.
Push nyuma tukuwe na space. Yes, this is an olive tree. Olive tree? Yes, sir.
So basically the overall project cost
But this is good enough. One can get a good feeling.
Ready to present to you Arumbaso. So, sit.
Yes. Na anayefuata kwa sasa With the new funding model is that it has reduced my financial burden of completing fees. Graduation ceremony. Your presence by extension is a reflection of the 16th President of the United States of America, Abraham Lincoln, who stayed.
Our chief guest, all protocol observance.
Hongera kwenyu.
Acting on the powers conferred on me by the TVET Act 2013, and knowing that you have satisfied the examiners in your respective fields, I award you the respective artisan certificates. Congratulations.
Automotive engineering. Credit, serial number 1 to serial number 25.
Zawadi viongozi wetu ambao wameweza kujumuika na sisi